shit. Here we go again.
Low, low, man. Low, low,
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire, American attorney living over in Asia. It's a legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. We got it today, boys. A little bit of scuff today, starting late. Hey, it's not a legal mindset stream if you don't, have a little bit of scuff. I thought I was going to start early, but my PP is very sizable today. It's a very large PP. And I know we had some small ones in the past and you were disappointed. This is a BBP, a BBPP. It is a big, beautiful PowerPoint. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. You guys are going to love it. We are going to be doing all of the details. I'm going to be going slow, taking my time, reading the whole thing that I included today. There will be a fast facts, but the fast facts will be a summary of the most important things from the contract. I don't read everything verbatim. So the live, we're going to go slow. We're going to chill. I may even have to move back to fast facts. It may, be too long on the stream. But we're going to go. We're going to nice sip some tea, whatever. I forgot my water. It's in the other room, but don't worry about it. We'll be fine. Strap in. We're going to be having fun tonight and hope you guys are all enjoying yourselves here. Cause of course I always do. And I always enjoy myself with you guys, right? You guys are always near and dear to me. When it comes to the reviewing of the VTuber world, because I know a lot of people, if you're tuning in today, you're one of the 1,000 people here, you're probably a VTuber fan. I know that I do have some fans who watch me on any sort of content, and I will say, if you're a fan who likes all of my content, you don't really know about VTubers, stick around, because this is very useful no matter what. In fact, in your daily life, some of the things I'm going to tell you may be relevant to your job, may be relevant to an agreement that you sign with a company or with somebody else, particularly as it relates to separation and particularly as it relates to what is and is not legal. Because a lot of contracts try to include things in there that they really can't get out of. And this is something that lawyers do as a matter of practice. The reason why they do that is they put something in there to make you believe you can't sue them for that, even though you still can, despite signing the agreement. So that's something we're going to go over today. We're going to get all the juicy details, all the good stuff. This is, and I have to say, thank you for the person who gave this to me very recently. You're very brave, and I am 100% protecting their privacy and anonymity. Some people have asked me, Andrew, is there going to be a copy of the agreement distributed? No, there will not be, but I will upload my PowerPoint. I'll probably upload it to my locals. Just because it's easy to upload files there. You can sign up for free. You don't have to pay, whatever. I'll attach it and just pin it after the stream. So you guys can have the PowerPoint, which has these selected provisions. I didn't include the entire thing for two reasons. Number one, sometimes lawyers try to put in information that can be used in a sneaky way to identify who it is. If I had any feeling that information or there was something in there that might have been used to identify the employee or whatever, I would have excluded it. Also, I just want to make sure 100% that privacy and confidentiality are respected. So that's the reason why I keep that there. But they're all excerpts from a real VShojo contract, right? And once again, attorneys know about confidentiality, and I view confidentiality very, very, very seriously. Even if they're not my client, even if there's somebody who's giving me information, they're not a client, right? There's no attorney-client necessarily, but I view it as confidential, right? When they're essentially whistleblowing on VShojo. Wow, let's get all this stuff here. So Jaffa Greg started us off with New Zealand 10. The Kiwi 10 said this should be fun. 4 hours left at work, and some of it we've been enjoying this. Well, awesome. Well, hey, enjoy the rest of your work. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Make sure whatever you're doing, you're not going to get fired, not going to get in trouble. We gotta stay chill here. And yeah, you're going to enjoy this one. Eddie said late and affectionate. Thank you for the affection. I do appreciate that. I am a very happy person. Yes. Milos Hallen, give him for 18 months. His best bet is to reach up for a follow-up consult. Milos, please email me, andrewesquirelive@gmail.com. andrewesquirelive@gmail.com. Danielle will put that in the chat, but you can always reach out to me and I'll try to help you out. Triple J26 says, I can't imagine the VShojo contract can be worse than Niji Sanjay. Long. Okay. The Niji Sanjay contract.
No. Wait.
This is not the Niji Sanjay contract. So I hate to spoil anybody who thinks this is going to be Niji Sanjay part 2. This is not essentially modern day indentured servitude, which is what the Niji Sanjay contract was. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try to clickbait you in here or tease you, right? It's not Niji Sanjay. But in a way, it's more dangerous because when you read a contract like Niji Sanjay, it's so clearly bad, even to people who are not lawyers, that you're like, wow, this sounds illegal, right? Just reading it on its face, it sounds wildly illegal. And it is, for the most part, the Niji Sanjay contract. This one is dangerous because there's things in there that you would believe because you're like, oh, that sounds standard. That's standard language. But no, you need to doubt even the standard language because what you have to understand is lawyers are going off of templates. And they're going off of templates that have been passed around like a cup of pink lemonade on a hot summer day, right? Everyone's had a sip. It's a little dirty at the end, right? So that template, they don't think about it too much. And they often put more in that template than they need to put. And they put more in that template than the law even will allow. Thrak says, nice, but is the PP scuffed? I hope it's not scuffed. It's very long. So I hope it's just right. Just right for you guys. Let's see here. Okay, I got my PP ready too. In fact, I'll tease the PP here. We'll do a little PP tease just for you guys. Get it up there so you guys can see just the beginning. We'll keep it in large mode. Thank you for the 5. And JP, thank you for the 20 legal mindset memberships and warranty void with 20 legal mindset memberships.
Yes. Emotional, damn it.
JP, a wonderful mod. Thank you so much. And Warranty Void, also an OG. Thank you guys for the big donos. Really helps out. If you receive a free donation, please say thank you in the chat. I heard somebody say this is the nicest chat ever. It's because, look, we enforce rules of civility here and kindness and reasonableness. If you're out here just to drama bait or try to, rage or all caps, you're going to get timed out. You're going to get banned, right? If you're reasonable, even if you disagree with me, that's okay, right? And, let's just respect each other in the chat. And I think we can have a good stream. Worker Man for 10 says, finally got to catch you live again. Thank you for your entertaining, informative content. My pleasure. I'm happy to entertain and educate. LJ Rourke is a new member. Welcome. Mr. Brodoxum, hello, base mindset. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, no, this is very true. So the reason your chats are good is because you help cultivate the chat you want. Exactly. And I think the chats reflect the streamer. And you guys know my personality, and the people that are here for my type of content. You want somebody that's going to be defaming people and crazy, whatever. That's not me. Go somewhere else, right? We're going to chill. We're going to have a nice professional analysis here. So let's go through this. So little background. This is a new contract that I just received this week. So this is something that I just got. This is from an employee. Okay. Terminated from VShojo. So very clearly, this is not a talent. Right. And also, I'm just going to put this one up here. I'm not trying to call you out, but clearly I'm not going to disclose this. Obviously, like this is an obvious question, right? If I was to disclose this, right, they could really come after the person. So what you have to understand is my first concern is protecting the talent or the employee. So I cannot let you know who that is because they will 100% try to come for them. They're going to be very salty. Gun Run is going to have a bad day after he sees this stream. He's not going to like it, right? It's not Iron Mouse, people. Yes, it's not Iron Mouse, people. However, hold up. I did review a VShojo talent contract before. However, when I did that, part of my agreement was it would be completely confidential and I would never leak it to the public. So I've seen a talent contract. So what I'm going to tell you and what I can say without breaching any agreements or anything else is saying there are certain provisions in here, which we'll get to, that are exactly the same as the talent contracts. This is also a separation agreement. It's not an employment agreement. It's the agreement you sign when you're fired or when you're separated. I guarantee you all that right now, Gun Run and his lackeys are trying to push similar versions of this agreement in front of all the talents that have not spoken up yet. All of the ones that might be litigating, that might be still quiet. I guarantee you that if they haven't done it already, they're trying to push similar versions of this to all of them. So while, yes, this is an employee, there probably is a version with some differences that they're going to try to put in front of Iron Mouse, that they're going to try to put in front of Kson. I don't know for sure, but it's a pretty good guess, guys. It's a pretty good guess. So remember, there's a lot of this that's going to be the same. And there's some reveals in here, like their choice of law, like their lawyers. Oh yeah, we found out they actually have lawyers, right? Some of the other non-disparagement clauses, which really explain why the talent does not want to speak on YouTuber X, because that non-disparagement clause is really big. It's really big. And this, I guarantee you, matches what they're trying to push in front of the talents. So this is pretty big. Don't be scared, guys. We'll walk through it together. We're here together. I got you. So we're going to cover the relevant portions. I am privating out and redacting private info, so you're going to see black bars there. So just stay with me, stick with me. We'll be all right. James for 2 says we are legally obligated to be the nicest chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That is, in fact, you know what? That statement.
Hello, Beso Department.
We gotta promote positivity, guys. There's enough negativity out there in the world. We gotta be positive, educational, entertaining, and you can have fun. If everyone's positive, we can all be having fun. Let's continue here. Here's the agreement. It's a separation and release of claims agreement. I'm going to be reading most of the text here. Once again, in the fast facts, I go through this quickly, but I'm going to read it all. So this is a separation and release of claims agreement entered into between VShojo, a Delaware corporation, and the employee. So what does that say? So think about this. VShojo, and many corporations do this. VShojo is a California headquartered company. All of their assets, their corporate headquarters is in California. They have their corporation registered in Delaware, and their choice of law is in a third state. It's in a third state that's not Delaware, and it's not California. So they are doing the maximum possible, which once again is not illegal. It's totally legal, but they are doing the maximum possible to try to what's called forum shop. They want to be in California because, we're around tech. We're cool. We're in California. But then use Delaware law because it's more favorable to corporations, although the law in Delaware is changing, right? Some people like Elon Musk and X have a problem with Delaware corporate law, and they've decided to go to other states. And then they use a third state for their labor law in their lawsuits because they're afraid. They fear California law. They fear the labor protections in California. They fear the non-compete clause restriction in California. Do you guys know in California, you cannot have a non-compete? Fun fact. We're going to talk about that later. So they are all over the place. So after the date, the employee will not represent itself as being an employee, officer, agent, or representative of the employer. So that's very important. They have to say publicly, hey, I'm no longer an employee. Except as otherwise set forth, the separation date is the termination date, meaning the employee is not entitled to further compensation, monies, or benefits from the employer, including coverage under any benefit plan or programs. So they're trying to say, hey, after this date, you cannot come after us for any other wages, benefits, health insurance, retirement, whatever. You're done. If you didn't get reimbursed as of this agreement, as this date, we're done. And this is important because if the talents, for example, going into the talent contracts, if the talents have not signed this, the talents can still argue that theoretically they're owed money up until, VShojo pays it to them, and they're owed benefits up until VShojo pays it to them because they are unpaid. So they can continue to accrue fines and penalties because, hey, they've never paid them, so they still owe them. So this is very, very, very important. It may seem like it's mundane, but it's not. I like the Spike Man. What's up for 20? Since back in the Niji days, I remember Spike Man coming through big. This is so dumb. Gun Run and Co covered bases. Yeah, and they've been covering bases for a while, and trying to keep people silent, but it's not working. The dam is breaking. Let's talk about this. Now this is pretty standard. Return of property. So you guys probably, if you've worked at a job, you've had a job with a corpo or something like that, you've probably had to return stuff like keys, access cards, badges, laptops, computers, telephones, mobile phones, handheld electronic devices, credit cards, electronically stored documents, files, physical files, and sensitive property. That's normal. So that's number one here, return of property. But what I'm really interested in here is electronically stored files and documents. What I am curious about here is, did VShojo make them send back assets, particularly assets that maybe were partially completed or were recent, etc., because they may have said, hey, you've got to send us back because we didn't fully transfer the asset. We didn't fully give you this. So we're going to take that back. Did VShojo try to claw back those electronic files? Because an asset, a digital asset, part of a model or VTuber model, that is an electronically stored file. So there is an argument that VShojo would try to take things back. I don't know whether they actually did that or not, but the contract does give them that flexibility, right? Yes, incomplete scans. Exactly. Crimson Splat, thank you for the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Appreciate that so much. And crypto site Sioneka says, how likely were you to join VShojo upon your VTuber debut before this explosion? 0%. Didn't they not take mails? Don't they not take mails? Didn't they not take mails? But anyways, beyond that, I wouldn't have joined VShojo. That wouldn't have been the one I joined. There's other agencies, and perhaps there'll be an agency I work with in the future that may be one that works out. But yeah, no, I would not join VShojo. They would not have been my choice. Employee representations. This means stuff the employee has to promise. This is also important. The employee specifically represents and warrants and confirms that they have not filed any claims, complaints, actions of any kind against the employer with any court of law, local, state, or federal government or agency. This is actually interesting because, it is your right, and I'm going to say this a lot, it is your right to file claims with an agency, with, like, for example, the labor board, etc. And by trying to make them say, hey, I haven't filed, it's like, well, no, maybe you have, and that's your right. And, you're allowed to do that. And that's just fine. So it's one of these things. You're going to see this a lot where they try to make it seem like you can't file claims that you lawfully can file or claim when you really can. Now, all this says is they haven't filed. It doesn't say they won't, but it's still an interesting representation to tuck in there. This is another one too. Has not made any claims or allegations to the employer related to sexual harassment, sex discrimination, sexual abuse, or none of the payments set forth are related to sexual harassment or sexual abuse. Okay, let's talk about this, guys, because I guess let's be real. Now, you know me, I focus on the facts, not the allegations. But because there's information out there that enough people have put out there about creepy behavior from certain people at VShojo, what I want to say here is that this is a subtle intimidation tactic to keep people from filing these sorts of claims. However, if they were subject to true harassment, power harassment, quid pro quo, any sort of sexual workplace harassment, discrimination, they absolutely have the right to file and should file those claims. And that is absolutely their right, and VShojo cannot stop them. This waiver cannot stop them. Nothing can stop them from that. So if those did happen, once again, I'm not saying they did, because I don't have enough facts to say this for sure happened. I don't. No Google document in the world that's going to prove that to me. It needs to be in a court of law. They need to see evidence, etc. All I'm saying is, if there are allegations that are true and someone wants to report them, they still can, even if they sign this waiver. And for those people out there that might have been scared by the waiver, you should contact an attorney and you should say, hey, I know that I got paid out by this, and I know this is a big, scary agreement, but I was harassed and I feel like I need to report this and seek justice, right? Because they should, right? They should. Now, is this something that is standard? Well, yeah, in most contracts, you don't have to put it in there in a waiver, but you can. But I think it's put up in, the order here, perhaps for a reason. It's number 2. Sexual harassment and discrimination and, sexual abuse are put above hours and wages. Look at this, right? It's put as number 2, B. Wages and hours, that's C and D. So usually wages to me is put up. So the fact that they put this up here means they're really concerned about this, right? We're really concerned about this. So, and what's up, Rima? Do we have a horse girl popping in? Do we have a horse girl in the chat? Do we confirm our horse girl? What's up, Rima? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you as always. Good friend of mine. All right, let me get some of these super chats. We'll continue. Sigarin says, hey, we all know if Legal Mindset joins an agency, it'll be Sox VTuber agency. Obviously. Oh, obviously. Lewis Guy said, my wife and I had to move because of non-compete. And non-competes, people say the FTC banned them. People are still trying to put them in there. There's ways you can get around them. There's loopholes, etc. Right? However, states are generally taking hard action against them and courts are looking at them not favorably. So even if you had an existing one, a lot of them are not taken seriously. But some of them are. In certain states, they are. And VShojo chose a state that will sometimes uphold non-competes. So VShojo intentionally is trying to, and also other types of agreements, is also trying to lock them down in a certain way, right? Because a non-disparagement agreement is sort of, in many ways, it has similar tones to a non-compete. Because you're saying, okay, I can't talk about XYZ, right? But we'll get into that. Big Buddha says Silvervale said they asked her to pay them or give back assets that weren't fully done when she got them after she left, when they tried to give her a 64 deal. Exactly. And that's part of the return of property clause. And that's exactly in line with what Silvervale said. So this is checking out. You know, you can confirm something, whether it's true or false. You know, everyone's going to say, oh, Legal Mindset made this up. Listen, guys, I got too much stuff to cover. And I am way too lazy to make stuff up. This is a genuine article. And when you tie it to what Silvervale said and the others said, it's going to confirm it. When you put the pieces together, you're going to see, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is why they're saying that. It's going to all click. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is why my Oshi can't talk right now. This is why my Oshi says it's in my lawyer's hands, right? Oh my God. It's VShojo. Yeah. Mr. Prodoxum says the amount of Legasp Corpo was evil the whole time. I'm still seeing is crazy. I never trust them from the beginning. And listen, not all corporations are quote unquote evil, right? Not all corporations are evil. However, we do have to understand that even people with good intentions, sometimes people with good intentions can be the ones to run the most wrong. Let's move to the next page. So separation benefits. So this is what they got from all of this. Yeah, this is very true, guys. This is very true. Okay, so for all of this, so you have to have what's called consideration when you sign an agreement. And consideration means something in exchange. If you're going to make a bunch of promises, you have to get something in exchange for those promises. And typically that's money. Sometimes it's other stuff like property or stock or other assets, but typically it's money. So what did they give this person? They gave this person $6,600, a lump sum payment in US dollars of 6,000 less taxes. So they probably got like 4,000. I mean, I don't know what taxes are exactly in under the law that's relevant here, but maybe like they got 4,000 or 3,000 after taxes and everything else. This is not a ton of money, but once again, I don't want to downplay people's earnings. That might have been a month or 2 months of their earnings. I don't know. Typically, when you are separated, when you are fired, essentially, if they're going to give you money, they give you a month, 2 months, 3 months. So I'm assuming it's somewhere between 1 to 3 months of their pay. Somewhere between 1 to 3 months of their pay. That's my guess. Could be 2 weeks. That would be really stingy. But I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 1 to 2 month mark. Okay. Yeah, that's right here. All right. So let's go here. So the employee can also get COBRA coverage, which is essentially continuing coverage after you're terminated. So this is continuing healthcare coverage, right? To the extent that they would have that. Now, for example, the talent would not have this. So the talents are not going to get healthcare, and think about this too, guys. The employees are getting all these benefits and all this money and even payments out at the end. The talents get none of this, right? They don't get healthcare benefits. They don't get lump sum payouts. In fact, they haven't been paid at all. So that's even worse than this agreement. So here you go. No payment will be made or begin before the effective date. And this last one, which is super important, which is upon the employee's request, the employer will provide the employee, a prospective employer, with a written confirmation of their employment with the employer. So including the dates of the employment. This is very interesting. And this is something that's a life lesson for you guys. A lot of people want to get a good recommendation from an employer. Well, spoiler alert, they don't have to give you a good recommendation. All they are legally required to do is confirm you worked there and the dates you worked there. And that's all they really normally do, because it is a liability to say anything about you, even something good that could be misconstrued as something bad. It is a liability. So all they do is confirm the dates. That's it. That's all. And so if you think this is something that's so important to get in the agreement, it's really not. They have to do that anyways. Let's see here. Riza said good morning or night or else. Thank you. Okay. Let's continue here. The employee acknowledges and agrees the benefits exceed what the employee is otherwise entitled to receive from separation. And the benefits are given as consideration in exchange for executing this agreement in general release. The employee further acknowledges that the employee is not entitled to any additional payment or consideration, not specifically referenced. Nothing in this agreement will be deemed or construed as express or implied policy or practice to provide these benefits to any employees other than the employer. This is some shit. So this is money they would probably have to pay them anyways. It's probably, if they took this to the labor and they made a labor claim or something else, they would probably have to pay them that money anyways. They pay that money with this agreement to make it easier and quicker and faster. So it is probably not above and beyond. They probably had some other unreimbursed expenses. They probably had some travel stuff or maybe some other stuff that they paid for or needed to get paid for that they weren't paid for. I guarantee you this is not much beyond what they would be owed under the law. And once again, I'm not saying these clauses are necessarily horrible, and I'm not saying that this is like not standard, but what I'm saying is even with a standard contract, you need to understand what is true and what is not true and what is BS, right? Because some of it is BS. And part of the contract is making you believe the BS. I like the Spike Man for 10. Thank you. This is disgusting. Some of it, it's never Niji level, but it gets worse in that it's insidiously, what is it? The banality of evil, right? It's like so plain and vanilla that you just glaze past it. You don't think twice about it. And that's the real danger with a lot of things. You just don't think about it critically. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys, not just for VShojo, but for your lives when you're signing a contract. You really need to read it and say, is this really right? Is this really true? Probably isn't. A lot of contracts overreach. Separation, up by Ava for 2, so the separation contract's asking for the moon. Yeah. Doug Diaz for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for the support. Please say thank you if you received a gift of membership.
Yes.
Puerto Rico 51 says, well, just like the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack. That's awesome. I think I saw like the trailer on my Netflix. Looks interesting. But yeah, cool. The outro is in K-pop style, of course, coping and seating. Let's continue here. We've got a employee's release of claims. Now, oh boy, I'm going to read this to you, but let me just tell you guys. If you've ever signed a waiver, let's say you played paintball, you've gone, skydiving, you done anything remotely dangerous, even like go-karting, you probably signed a waiver. This language is in almost every waiver. So just understand that anytime you sign a waiver, they're going to want to tell you that you're disclaiming all claims and everything, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. If they're grossly negligent or they intentionally do something wrong, and in this case, remember, based on my last stream about VShojo, we have the Carfax that Gunrun knew, and that Gunrun knew for a long time, and the top leadership knew for a long time there was a problem. There was a problem for a long time, including taking from charity. At that point, it becomes either grossly negligent or willful, intentional. So the waivers will never cover claims or anything else arising from that sort of behavior that is grossly negligent, willful, etc. So just understand that. Let's read through this. The employee is irrevocably and unconditionally, fully and forever waiving and releasing and discharging the employer, that's VShojo, including the parents, affiliates, subsidiaries, predecessors, successors, assigns, and each of their officers, Gunrun, directors, employees, shareholders, trustees, and partners in their corporate and individual capacities, because they're afraid of piercing the corporate veil, from any and all claims, demands, actions, causes of actions, judgments, rights, fees, damages, debts, obligations, liabilities, expenses, grievances of any kind, whatsoever, whether known or unknown, the claims. And the releasers may or may not have ever had against the release parties or any arising against them in any way related to the employee's hires, benefits, employment, termination, separation, by reason of any actual or alleged act, omission, transaction, practice, conduct, occurrence, or any other matter from the beginning of time, since the beginning, the Big Bang here, people, or whatever you believe in, spaghetti monster, inception, whatever, and to include the date of the employee's execution of this agreement. Okay, so once again, they all try to get out of this. It's standard. I'm not going to blame them for standard language. I would put this in a waiver too. But understand there's limits to this, right? There's limits to the going back to the Big Bang, right? Yeah, from the time of the Lord. Like, come on. Patrick S. says, would it federal label laws trounce whatever state laws are? Yes, correct. If they're violating a federal law, yes, absolutely, 100%. You're on point, Patrick. Watching Tilly's for 20 Danish krona. This contract is basically, we would lie. Yes. Mr. Paradoxive says, you should make a big dono goal and the reward being a Phoenix Wright cosplay. Oh, man. I feel like I could get my hair. It's long right now, so I could actually do Phoenix Wright if I really tried. Okay, let's continue. And we're almost to the goal, though. We're at one away. Thank you guys for that. One away. One yellow away. Okay, this one is crazy. So this is really nuts. So in this one, they try to say these are all claims. So this page is a list of laws that they say we are not responsible for any of these and we are waiving claims under these. I'm going to tell you right now, objection. There is no way in hell they're going to get out of some of these. Okay? There is no way in hell if they actually violated them, like genuinely and truly violated them, right? They're not going to get out of this. Let's read through them. Title 7, that's discrimination. If you discriminate based on race, sex, or national origin, your little waiver is not going to get you out of discrimination. Americans with Disabilities Act. If you kick over Timmy in his wheelchair, you're not going to get out of the ADA. Family Medical Leave Act. If you screw over somebody while they're pregnant, right? That's not going to work out. Or Family Medical Leave Act also covers many cases like veterans or people that are going off abroad, right, for service, right? You screw over a member of the military while they're on, mandatory military service. That's not going to work either, right? Once again, the Fair Labor Standards Act, the Equal Pay Act, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1991, and Section 1981 of U.S. No. The Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's a federal thing. The Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification, the WARN Act, the National Labor Relations Act, the Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Act. That's tied in there. The Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, GINA, or GINA, whatever you like. If you like GINA, that's fine, or GINA, that's fine. I'm okay either way. Immigration Reform and Control Act. Let me tell you this. If you're hiring illegal workers, the ICE is not going to let you be like, oh, hold on, boys. They have a waiver. Since they have a waiver, we're not going to deport this one. We're not going to deport this one because they have a waiver. No, ICE is not going to be holding the brake. ICE is not pumping the brakes on this one. Okay. Oh, they have a waiver. I'm sorry. We can't deport this guy. Oh, it's too good. It's really too good. I mean, sometimes I wonder if these contracts that are written by no, it's just like, no, it's not gonna happen. Okay. Sorry, I was laughing there for a second. Any claims under the Texas Labor Code, including the Texas Payday Act, Texas Anti-Retaliation, Chapter 21 Texas Labor Code, Texas Whistleblower Act, the Washington Industrial Welfare Act, the Washington Law and Discrimination Act, the Washington Family Medical Leave Act, the Washington Leave Law, the Washington Minimum Wage Requirements and Labor Standard Act, of the Washington Equal Pay Opportunity Act, the Washington Fair Chance Act, all of these and any other regulations, including impending ones, right? Like ones that are coming in the future, federal, state, local, or foreign, right? And this is crazy. This is crazy. This is not going to happen. This is definitely not going to get you out of those things, like for sure. But they want remember, the point is they want the talent to believe. They want the employees to be intimidated. They want them to think, oh yeah, I can't report them for whistleblowing. I can't go to the labor board. I can't go to the, workers adjustment and retraining, program. They want you to believe these things. They're not true. And people will sometimes read these contracts and think these things are true and be very intimidated by them, but don't be. Don't be. It's all right. One yellow, you say. Thank you, James, so much. I like the Spike Man pretends to drop something. Please help these girls if you can. I'm trying, once again, Spike Man, oftentimes I can help in a different way than the lawyers. They all need their own lawyers. I'm not their personal lawyer, and I don't want to be. I want to be the guy raising awareness, and that's the most important thing. Because remember, their lawyers can't do what I do. If they did what I did, it could be construed as an ethical violation and violating their confidentiality requirements, attorney-client confidentiality requirements with their client. So if I was Iron Mouse's lawyer, I couldn't talk about VShojo at all. I couldn't. So I'm doing something from the outside that nobody else can do, right? Or that you can't really do when you're like that. I can do it, right? And I'm not afraid of gun run, right? He doesn't scare me. He's broke, right? If he had enough money to go around suing people, he'd be doing it. He's not right now, right? He's probably not totally broke, but he's relatively broke. And he's in a very bad position. A very bad position. Banky said, does this clause negate the whole contract? No, it doesn't. It's not. I get what you're saying there. You can have one bad clause. There's actually, I didn't include it in here, but there's a clause called severability. Severability means if one clause is found illegal or impermissible, it's a naughty clause. It's a bad clause. It's been naughty. It gets cold this Christmas. All that happens is that clause is deleted. So when a judge looks at this, they would put a big fat X over this section, but the rest of the contract would be valid to the extent that it's legal. The other illegal sections would also be X'd out. That's how severability works. It means that the pieces can be severed and it can still be a valid contract. Good question, though. Very good question. Charlie Spur for 5 says, I got off easy. My contract covered only since the asteroid that killed the dinosaur. The dinosaurs still live. Have you eaten chicken? Every time you eat a chicken, thank the dinosaurs. Bleats Cinderdie for 10 says, from time immemorial, there was the tale of VShojo, a tale of hope, pain, and alleged charity embezzlement. Alleged. I have to say alleged because that would be potentially defamatory. Mayhem says, we want you to sign this totally unfavorable waiver. Yes, and that's and unenforceable too. Waiver. Yeah, that happens all the time, guys. You're going to see stuff pushed in front of you that is illegal or just not enforceable. Big L for 5. So this is one hell of a shotgun blaster attempting. Isbitsky says, VShojo, yes, we would like to be immune to all labor laws, please and thank you. Yeah, that's not a thing. Oh, I would like to have a magical spaceship that farts unicorns and drops gold, but I don't have that, right? And no contract is going to give me that. Matt Siff, thank you. Marksman 117B says, can't convince me this leak wasn't Buddha's last act before he passed. Count Dankula's dog. R.I.P. Chaos Spreading Pug. Not even VTuber corpors are safe. Hey, R.I.P. R.I.P. to all the doggos out there. Okay, more attempts to get out of everything from VShojo. Attempts to get out of all claims for compensation, including all claims for wage, salary, bonuses, commissions, incentive compensation, vacation, or severance. So they could use this to try to get out of the charity fund. They could try to say, oh, the charity fund was really sort of payment. Remember, while this is not a talent contract, I guarantee you they are putting similar contracts, severance contracts, separation contracts, agreements in front of the talent who are treated as independent contractors or gig workers, something that's non-employee, but they still had a contract with them. So they would want to have a severance, an end of employment or end of arrangement with them, right? Any and all claims in tort, contract, or quasi-contract, including breach of contract, wrongful or retaliatory discharge, fraud, defamation, negligent or intentional emotional distress, tortious interference, or breach of covenant of good faith, fair dealing, estoppel. Wait a second. So you're trying to say that VShojo is allowed to defame you in any way that they want. And we're going to get to the non-disparagement clause. It's coming up, guys. But so VShojo is allowed to talk all the smack about you and allowed to commit fraud. Fraud. Do you see that there, guys? Fraud. No, I'm sorry. No, they're not. Fraud is a crime. They cannot do that. They cannot do that. They cannot get out of fraud. Nux says, "This is the virtual contract I saw. Wasn't a clause for scamming charity." Yeah, this is a different one than perhaps you saw. You haven't sent me your Nux. Sent me yours. Send me the one you have. You didn't send it to me. Send it to me, senpai, on Discord. I love you. But no, this is a different one, bro. Probably if you didn't see that. But yes, fraud. It has fraud in here. What's up? Say hello to the Blue Demon. James is a new member. Welcome. Patrick says, "Is this even legally valid? I thought you can't use other state labor laws." You can try. Patrick, you can try. But to a certain extent, even if you try, the court will still say, no. California laws apply. So despite the fact they're going to try to use Delaware corporate law, and there's spoiler alert, they're going to try to use Washington labor law, that shit doesn't fly. Sorry, I'm going to put some in the swear jar. That baloney does not fly, because there's a certain point at which labor law applies to where you are and where the headquarters is, where the employees are working out of. And a lot of the employees were working out of California, or were, presumptively working out of where the corporate headquarters would be. So this is why I'm saying this is complicated, because VShojo is going to fight and try to say, hey, the proper venue is in Washington. So let's say we'll just pick somebody, Kason or Iron Mouse or whatever. And they want to bring a California claim because that'd be really great for them. Or maybe Iron Mouse wants to bring a Puerto Rico claim, whatever. And they're going to say, no. You have to bring it in Washington because we said so. And this is a sort of procedural little needling that they do when they're fighting you. And this is the annoying part about dealing with corporations, is the procedure. And it can cost tens of thousands of dollars just to figure out which state to have the lawsuit in. Are you getting it, guys? Are you getting how corporations kind of screw you over? Big Nutty for £5 says, "Never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or a VTuber fan what happened in 2025. That's very right." Mayhem says for $5, "How much of a contract can be struck down where the only thing is run out? Can you have 90% of a contract severed before they enforce the remaining 10? If the 10%, usually the thing is, if the payment terms are bunk, if the payment is an issue, they usually will throw the whole thing out. But let's say it was 90%, but they could get it down to just the payment side. They might be able to do it, but it depends. Typically with 90%, they're going to throw it out. Typically, if it's that bad, if it's Niji Sanji level, they're just going to throw it out. But with, this contract, once again, a lot of this language is standard, but in the context, they probably added a little bit more to the standard language. In the context, especially knowing there's charity fraud, potentially, it reads different. It hits different, right? Nicholas Atkins says, "When this gets to court, their only chance is getting their fingers in the judge's mouth." There's a Nux reference. Is this Korea? We're not covering the Somali trial, Nick. Calm down. What is this? Soon. We may have an update on that soon, actually. Okay. So even though they tried to exclude all of these things, the contract itself tells on itself, right? So you can see here, it says, "This general release excludes and does not waive any right to file a civil action or complaint with a state agency, a public prosecutor, law enforcement, ding, 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 charity fraud, or any court or governmental entity alleging claims or rights under the Equal Opportunity Commission," that's there, "as well as claims that cannot be waived by law, such as unemployment or workers' comp." And there's more than that. They're underselling it. They're lying. There's way more that cannot be waived by law than just unemployment, workers' comp. This is underselling it. Way underselling it. "And the right to file an unfair labor practice under the National Labor Relations Board." Wait a second, guys. The National Labor Relations Act. Hold on. Where did we see that before? Oh, wait. We saw it right here. I thought this whole act I thought you can't file anything on this act because number I said that right here, National Labor Relations. Why do you openly admit here that you can file a claim under that? Is it laziness or is it just like you just copy pasted? Which one was it? Because it's one or the other. You definitely copy pasted, guys. Come on. And any rights, pension benefits, etc. So what this is admitting, it's telling on themselves, saying, hey, look, listen, there's certain things you can't waive no matter what, right? Like one thing you guys can't waive is smashing the like button. Okay, guys, we've had an amazing PP. We've got a leak for you today. Smash the like button. It's the least you can do for good old Uncle Mindset. Good old Uncle Mindset. The least you can do. Just smash that like button. What are we at right now? Let's check. Do I have to shame you guys publicly? Because we have 2,000 people and only 700 likes, only 680 likes. What is that? Is this amateur hour? What are we doing here? Do you guys even appreciate me? Do you guys even respect me? Do you guys even respect my authority? Come on. All right, let's go. Okay, here's a knowledge. This is a acknowledgement. So this is saying, hey, the employee specifically acknowledges that the employee has read the agreement in its entirety. That's required. You have to have knowledge. And here we go. The employee has been advised to consult with an attorney before executing it. Now, while that language is in there, I guarantee you they tried to get him to do it without that. Very few companies. Now, I'll give a little shout out to like Phased. I know there are a couple other companies that actually encourage them to go do it and like actively help them, like say, hey, look, don't go get a lawyer here, like don't do it, right? There are corpos that are cool and they go out there and they do it. By the way, I fulfilled my my obligation to chat. I did DM Sakana, right? I did DM Sakana. Let me see if I can prove that here without doxing the DMs. Can I do that? Okay, I did that though. He saw my message. I said, chat maybe DM you, obligation to chat fulfilled. Seen on Friday. He saw that. So Sakana knows. But that said, yeah, the cheater, yes. He doesn't regret anything. How many jurisdictions are they claiming? Three. Delaware, Washington, and then of course they are also in California, factually. Raven said, why would anyone sign an exit contract? Because they want the money and they threaten them with the money. Why they sign it is for this. $6,600, which is less taxes. So that's probably about $4,000. So they sign this for probably about $4,000, maybe even less, maybe $3,000 because of taxes, right? So that's why they sign it. So they're once again add more waiver language in there. Here we go. Oh, sorry. Let me go back here because I don't want to spoil that one. We'll save that one. Let me get the super chats and we'll go. I remember Scott says no. Yes. In fact. Yes. Matt Siv, welcome as a better one. Eagle Series for Mexican 50, who has better lawyers. VShojo needs you $7. No, I would say this. VShojo does have better lawyers. They have a real law firm. But I don't know whether I think they just used a template and they didn't try too hard, which once again, I don't blame them. I've used templates in the past, but when you really go down and dig into it, templates have holes and templates are a result of not really caring about, the employee. They try to treat it like a cog in the system and they just give a template agreement. And what's going to happen is it's going to get picked apart before thousands of people on the Legal Mindsets channel. That's what happens. That's what we do here. Cryosite Suyoneka says, wait, you just say we can't waive the leaky PP? No, you have to respect the leaky PP and make sure to clean up after it, which is by smashing the like button. I'm here for the scuff says, but here's my lunch money. And Legal Mindset, bullying people into turning over their lunch money since 2020. Oh man, you're giving me long COVID with that one. All right. Hume for €6 says, so what curse can I use now for I hope your Oshi signs of VShojo? I think Vactor is still around. I think Vactor is still trying some like shenanigans. I think Vactor's like going on a suing rampage. I may have to go back on that one because they're like suing everybody now. That's pretty crazy. Big L for 5 says, how does Texas law fit in this? Not use that jurisdiction. They're throwing it in there. Once again, they're trying to go for all jurisdictions. They're trying to cover their bases. Trying to cover the bases. All right. So let's go here. Non-disparagement. Boy, I wish I got that water. I'm regretting that water. My water's in the other room. Non-disparagement. Here's the one, and here's why your Oshis are not speaking, guys. This is why they're not talking. It's why I'm mousing them. Case on the I'll be quiet. The employee, I guarantee you, this is in the agreement for employment. I can't 100% confirm it because I don't have everybody's individual, but I'm pretty sure. Let me put it 99.9% sure that this clause is in everybody's contract, including your favorite talent. Right? Don Baca says, rough night last night, rough night every night. Good to see you, Don. Good to see another little hammer. One of my mods back in here. So the employee will not anytime make, publish, or communicate to any person. That means even in private or entity or in any public forum, any defamatory or disparaging remarks, comments, or statements concerning the employee, its business, or any of its employees or officer managers now or in the future. This is huge. That says, hey, you can't say anything, if you had allegations of harassment, including sexual harassment, we don't want you to communicate this. We want you to talk about that. It's disparaging. If you want to you can't talk bad about gun run. You can't talk bad about, Mr. Not lawyer, in-house lawyer, who was, negotiating things. Yeah, this is why they can't talk. What this means is in any public forum, that means X, that means YouTube, that means Twitch, that means anywhere else. Is this illegal? A lot of courts don't like this. And also, if the law is being broken, that is not enforceable. So let me say this again. If a law is being broken, the non-disparagement clause is no better than toilet paper. You can wipe your butt with it, okay? And in this case, I would say there's some butt wiping they can do, because this is a case in which there are clear examples that need to be turned over to law enforcement, like the charity fraud part or the regulatory stuff. NDAs, waivers, they don't cover that. Be in Chirac in 2 weeks. Stay safe. And yes, NDA doesn't cover crime. That's right, Danielle. Actually, for 10 says, I missed the stream till now, but is it safe to assume these contracts aren't as bad as we all thought they were? Keep up the good work. Yeah. So once again, actually, I've called it the banality of evil. The banality of banality of contracts, right? Or the evil of banality, perhaps. It is the fact that they are so vanilla that you will take them at their word instead of question them critically. And what I'm trying to educate you guys on is to question everything you're signing, whether or not it's legal. And that applies to your personal life as well, not just to Hiroshi. Starblot said, first super chat to anyone ever. Just wanted to say thank you for your hours of educational edutainment content. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Window for that too.
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
Giga-based. We try to be edutaining here. We try to keep it interesting because look, contracts are boring. I know most of you would not read this contract if I didn't walk you guys through it. I don't blame you, right? But there's layers to this. There's many layers to this. So here we go. They also try to say you're not waiving any rights under the relevant state law. And then there's remedies. And what this says is very important. In the event of any breach or threatened breach, this is why they're threatening the talents, guys, because this is probably in there as well. By the employee of any of the provisions, the employee consents and agrees that the employer will be entitled to seek a temporary or permanent injunction against a breach or threatened breach. So they probably went around and said, hey, if you do this, we're gonna go file an injunction against you, and we can get legal remedies, monetary damages, and even we can get our money back. So if you screw up here, we can get our money back, our little $4,000 back or $6,000 back, right? Lorella said, was the kitchen sink included when writing this? Yeah. Let's get it. Here we go. Now, here's the big one, guys. Pay attention. Pay attention. Governing law. This agreement and all matters arising out of this agreement related to them, whether in contract, tort, or statute, are for all purposes governed and construed by the laws of Washington, including the statute of limitations, without regard to any conflict of law principles that require laws of other jurisdictions to apply. Any action or proceeding of either parties to enforce this agreement shall only be brought in state or federal court located in Washington. The parties irrevocably submit to the exclusive jurisdiction of these courts and waive the defense of inconvenient forum to any action or proceeding. So they decided to go for California. No, sorry, for Washington instead of California. Why is that? Let's talk about that. Choice of law. VShojo chose Washington over California. California is where the headquarters is. Why don't they use their headquarters? Well, because Washington has much more favorable laws than California. And I can attest to this too. I worked at a company that had many operations and businesses, locations in California. California, and I mean this in a very whatever way, it's very pro-labor, very pro-plaintiff in a way, right? It's difficult to operate for businesses. And that can be good and that can be bad, right? There's pros and cons, whatever. But they chose Washington for a point, despite the fact that as far as I know, and unless you guys can tell me otherwise, I don't think they had any physical presence in Washington at all whatsoever, that they purely chose that as a legal forum. Why? Because the employment requirements, the wage and hour regulations, and the non-compete clause. And also this will apply to the disparagement, right? California law does not look very well on non-competes. And they also don't look very well on disparagement clauses. In fact, non-competes in California are pretty much totally prohibited. And they really don't like the non-disparagement stuff. Because here's the thing about the non-disparagement. Let's go back to the non-disparagement. Will not at any time make or publish any statement. This is meant to last forever, with no limit on it. That's kind of a long time. It's kind of a long time. But here's the reality. And this is something that Gun Run needs to live with, and they all need to live with. And yes, they're registered in Delaware, which is, once again, they're everywhere. VShojo cannot escape some of the mandatory California labor laws. Yes, they may be able to get out of contractual claims, and this is why it's so complicated for the talents, because they may be dealing with a multi-state lawsuit. They may be trying to sue or trying to do stuff in California, in Washington, and in their home state. Let's say it's Texas, or let's say it's Puerto Rico or Georgia or wherever else. So they've got a super complicated legal field here. And they're asking their lawyer, which may be a local lawyer who may not know the laws in California, Washington, to handle this. It's complicated. So VShojo's trying to dodge here, but they're not going to be able to dodge everything. Is it legal? Kinda, yes, but also the court may decide no. And a lot of times they put stuff in these contracts that the court will just say, no, you're in California. The California labor laws apply here. What are you talking about? Axie said, wouldn't read it. Mate, we can't read. We have you for that. That's true. You guys are, hold on. Where's the clip? I've got the illiterate clip. It's here somewhere. Here we go. Tenma.
Do you even know what you're saying? Card man? I don't even understand. I'm fucking illiterate. Do I look like I know how to read? No. I don't know how to read.
This is chat. That is, Tenma is chat right now. Tenma is 100% chat. Criminal Splash says, has anyone announced a criminal investigation of VShojo? No, I haven't heard yet, but once again, there probably would be a lot of investigation going on beforehand and probably some mediation, etc. So while it hasn't been announced, listen, I'm not ruling it off the table, Crimson Splat. And once again, they can bring that 6 months from now, 3 months from now. They've got time. This is something that can cook. Let it cook. Mr. Paradoxon for 99 says, as a lawyer, how tasty does lawsuit look if you're a talent's lawyer? To me, it looks like a slam dunk. This kind of looks like a judge with the book at him. Yeah, no, and to me, the judge is not going to look favorable at this when he looks at the totality of the evidence. Because look at my other streams. We've seen what they said in Discord behind the scenes. We've seen they knew. And everything is calculated to put pressure on the talents. Guys, like Kason said, talent first, my ass. And that's quoting Kason. That's not swearing because I'm quoting Kason. Okay, it doesn't count because I love Kason, which is great. But it definitely looks like something that they can get them on, but it's complicated. It's not as simple as it seems. Hugger Sugar for 50 Swedish krona. It's all about the money. Money makes the world go round. Get paid if you're hungry. Nothing ever slows us down. Thank you. Himo Kushaku for 6 euros says, if a lawsuit is multi-state, does it or when does it turn to federal? That's when it would be, right? It's potentially, if the amount is enough in controversy is enough, then yes, it could be multi-state. It could be federal. Sorry, it could be federal. So yes, that's a very good question. Master X Doof for 5 says, HQ in California, choice of law in Washington, registered in Delaware, employee in Texas, Canada. It's all over the place. Yeah, it is all over the place. Banky says, water break time. Protect your handsome voice, please. We're getting through it. We're on the back end. So I think Uncle Mindset can stick in here for you. I'm tough, guys. I'm tough. I stick in here for you. Simple. I do it out of love for you guys. So just like the video. Maybe if you want to subscribe, I would appreciate that. We're on a voyage to 400K. We're making good time on that voyage to 400K. Subscribe to the video. Hey, if you want to throw a couple memberships, you want to join as a member, I'd really appreciate that too. But if you just stay here and be cool in the chat, I appreciate you being here and being a part of this community. Matt Siv for 2 pounds. Or sorry, 2 euros. Not in the Eurozone. This will reach the talent or their council. Oh yeah, I think they're watching, and I think they know. And there are people that watch my streams that pass this information around. My streams are watched. Okay, so yes, and I know that the VShojo is probably watching this. They probably got some goon watching this. Remember, the people that like your content are watching, but the haters really watch. So I guarantee you there's some VShojo folks watching. Charlie Spurs says not defamatory because Kason has a nice listen. No comment. No, I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. Axie as a new member. Thank you for that. All right. Let's continue. Here's some no admission of liability. We didn't do nothing wrong. That's what they're saying. Nothing in this agreement will be construed as an admission by the employer of any wrongdoing, liability, or non-compliance with any federal, state, local, city, or local rule, ordinance, statute, or common law, or any other legal obligations. So saying, hey, we ain't admitting to nothing. Here's a good one. All notices will be sent in writing by personal delivery. That means by hand delivery, meaning like a process server, or by regular mail to the address, which is Odin Law and Media, 4600 Marriott Drive, Suite 520, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27612. This is their attorney. We now know who their attorney is. Now, I'm not trying to disparage their attorney. I looked at their website. They look like they run a competent operation. I even saw one person that I may have met at some point when I was in North Carolina. It may be possible. Their name sounded very familiar. But that said, they're a real law firm. You can look them up. They're there. So that's their actual law firm. Now, whether or not, and let's be really clear, the law firm may have provided a template and they may have filled out the template and changed it. So we don't know if their law firm did all of it or if their in-house lawyer, who's not a lawyer, revised this and then put this out. I'm going to put money, because corporations are cheap, they probably got a template and they had their own little guide tweak it or twerk it, whatever. Maybe he was twerking. Who knows? Anything's possible in VShojo. I'm not ruling anything out. They did charity fraud. They could be twerking in the office too. Totally possible. But they do have a real lawyer at some point who is on the on the line for this. Here's a good one. Attorney's fees and costs. If the attorney breaches any terms of this agreement or the post-termination obligations, so that means forever, that means right now. The reason why I'm protecting this confidentiality is because they can come after them and look at what they threaten them with. And this is pretty, whatever. You guys will see. To the extent authorized by Washington law, the employee will be held responsible for payment of all reasonable attorney's fees that the employer incurred in the course of enforcing the terms of this agreement, including demonstrating the existence of a breach or any other contracts enforcement. So saying if they break this agreement, they're going to charge the employee attorney's fees, right? Once again, not necessarily unstandard, but do you understand why why they would be scared, right? From the talent's perspective, if they read this and you're an employee or the talent, because I guarantee you there's a similar provision in the talent contract. I guarantee you that I can promise you. Can you not understand? Let's say you're a talent and you're young, you're in your 20s, you're maybe, whatever, maybe you're 21 or 20, maybe you're 19, who knows? You're young, you read a contract and you're scared because you say, oh my God, if I break this, they're gonna sue me and charge me attorney's fees. That's scary. That's very scary, right? And I can understand why people wouldn't want to speak up because they're afraid of that. And once again, they should always work with their local attorney. But this is the type of pressure that these contracts keep. And they keep this instance and this appearance that, oh, if I go report the sexual harassment I faced to the proper people, they're going to sue me for attorney's fees. Well, no, that's not what happened. That's not legal. They can't do that. Oh, if I report charity fraud, they're going to come after me for attorney fees. That's not okay. That's never okay. Right? So just to understand, that's the perspective here. Modification or waiver. Actually, let me get some super chats first. Joseph Villarreal becoming a new member. Welcome back. Actually, Hiyumi Koshaka becoming a new member. Welcome, thank you, and appreciate I earned your membership today. Andy Bradley for £10 says, if VShojo pleads insanity, can they blame it on Face Connect? Yes, it is indeed all Face Connect's problem. You can quote me on this. In fact, clip this out. The VShojo controversy is all due to the bungled mismanagement and the Menhera insanity of Face Connect. It all points back to Face. If you search through the connections, you will find that Phase Connect is behind everything. Niji Sanji, Vector. It all comes back to the fish man. Why? We'll find out one day. Coffee company, my ass. All right. Modification or waiver. No provision of this agreement may be amended or modified unless the amendment or modification is agreed to in writing or signed by the employee or by an authorized representative of the employer. No waiver or by either party or of any breach of any condition to be performed will be deemed a waiver or similar provision, nor will a failure or delay by either of the parties in executing any right, power, privilege under this agreement operate as a waiver that precludes exercise of such right, privilege, or power. So what they're saying is everything's got to be in writing. Why is this important? Well, this is important because there were a lot of promises that were probably made by Gunrun, the management, the executives, and none of those promises are legally enforceable on their face. Now, they may be now that there's crime involved or there's extraordinary behavior, etc. And the judge may look at some of those promises and say, yeah, you promised a charity money. So despite the fact there was an explicit agreement over that, it's legally binding, right? But they're trying to say, hey, this agreement is everything. Now that's not entirely true, right? But that's what is important here is there's probably a lot of stuff. And this can happen with you guys too. If your boss tells you something and makes you a promise, make them put it in writing. That's the only way you can get it. Is it in writing? Right? Not an email even, like a contract signed by both parties. Brandon Hunt says, definitely twerked it. Twerking is legal lingo now. Entropy 9 for RSD 1000 said that crafty fish man. You can't keep getting away with this. That's right. Iceland for 10 says, always thought Sakana was fishy. Joshua Real says it was an upgrade. YouTube was weird. Thanks as always. My pleasure. My pleasure. And thanks for the upgrade. Upgrade is very, very, very...
Hello, base of department.
Very base. So thank you for that. All right. Last but not least, what do we got? We got the sign page. So just so you guys know, and you can see it's kind of legit contract. You got the SIG block for VShojo and SIG block for the employee, which this thing was signed. But I'm obviously not showing you the signed version because that would involve some doxing. So I got you the clean version there. Axie said VShojo lost it all because Pippa posted feet pics and Pecora bought a monkey. Never forget. Oh, listen. I have never forgotten.
Monkey.
So that is what I have from the parts I can show you. I will say one more thing. Other than the fact that if you did like this and you want to consider supporting me, please consider hopping over to my Ko-Fi and supporting the Mindset team, including our lovely mod, Danielle, and all them that support us. I want to help give back to those guys. So if you want to help support me over here, that will go wonderfully towards the team on my Ko-Fi /Andrew Esquire. But aside from that, What I want to say about some of the parts I didn't show you is that the VShojo contract overall is meant to pressure, and I say this in a very specific way. It is meant to, in a way in which the talent or the employee, regardless, because once again, they're going to be similar, right, would look at it and think, hey, I cannot go and report things. I cannot whistleblow. I cannot turn things in. And that is not true. And what they all need to know is they are all able to go and do those things. And I hope, and I know, because Iron Mouse has a lawyer, so she's doing well. I'm sure Kason does it well as well, the big ones. But they all should know that there are certain things in the law that no contract can get you out of. And do not believe these shyster contracts, these bunk contracts that are out there saying everything, saying they have all the power in the world. And really, the truth of the matter is, guys, oftentimes they're pretty freaking impotent. They're very impotent. So don't believe these contracts, just like Niji Sanji. Yes, this is not Niji Sanji indented servitude, near slavery contract. No, it's not that bad. But because it's so vanilla, because it seems so standard, it can indeed get you to believe something that's just not true. And in this case, that can lead to exploiting talent, which is what I'm against. I am always for talent, unlike VShojo. KefVid2317 for 10 says, sorry I'm late to the party and off topic. You're going to cover fortune law. So I already did. Go back. Literally turn back. Literally, look, UK versus 4chan. Already covered it. So go back. I've already covered that lawsuit. So go back. They might have suppressed me on that one. So go back and check. Harry said, if you chose the situation, will take years to resolve. It may take a year. Yes. Maybe more. Lou just said, I can't believe Pakora's monkey was Vivi. Big Buddha says, my autism is showing. Did Pakora really buy a monkey, or is that, no, she did. She bought a bush baby. And Pakora literally has a monkey. No, she 100% bought a monkey. It's a bush baby, but it's 100% a monkey. Here, I'm going to pull it up. Yes. And I will pull up this as well, right? We got some Carfax. We got the Carfax here. First of all, I would love to spend my Thai bot on don't let this sticker distract you from the fact that Usada Pakora bought a fucking monkey. Very factual. Also, the thing in question. Really cute, right, guys? Really cute. Really worth the investment. It's really good investment. I know Mouse and Michi are having great people help. That's good. And look, you're in good hands. Or in good hands with lawyers. Trust their lawyers. Trust their people. When they're able to speak, they speak. But definitely, definitely trust their lawyers and the way they're directing them to do. Because if they direct them to wait, then it's time to wait, right? If they direct them to go to actually get out there and talk, then it's time to talk. Right? Then it's time to talk. Let's see. So some questions from my locals. Can you hold assets if you are owed payments? Maybe, but not really. What I think about the digital assets, and this is a question by Veggie Hunt on locals. I think with the digital assets, they would need to turn those over because I think they owe those to a certain extent to the talents. And I think that's something they should end up giving them. Someone said, if they want to argue that the state, can't you file in federal court and bypass that? Yes, you could. And that's the way to go. If you have an argument over which law applies, go to federal court and get it to go there. Do NDAs cover scuff? No, they do not cover scuff. They do not cover scuff. NDAs do not cover scuff. Okay, guys. So I am going to post this, just so you know, FYI. I'm going to post the PowerPoint on my locals. You can sign up for free and get it, legalmindset.locals.com. I'll post the PowerPoint. I will not be posting the whole document because, of course, I don't want to give away any private information, but that'll be posted on my locals. If you want to download that for free, it'll be posted there. But otherwise, you can see it here or in the Fast Facts, which is going to come up in a second, which you guys can stick around and see. It's a quick and dirty version, but it's good. It's good. Like Coke in USA says, my father is saying verbal agreements aren't worth the paper they're written on, and that's exactly true. Amir Fitzcup says, Jill Coon. And Rolando Feliciano says, she bought a monkey, then had it made a VTuber model. That's right. All right, guys. Well, it is time. That's the end of the night. That's the end of the stream here. We did a good job reviewing this one. Thank you for being kind in the chat. Thank you for being responsible. Thank you for asking great questions. And as always, I look forward to the next stream with all of you together here, having fun with me. Until then, don't be like Gun Run, who definitely is going to watch the stream and be coping and seething.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping the seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are molding. You're coping so hard. Coping, you're seething. Coping, you're seething.